Welcome back, spooky souls. Well, it's another month. I cannot believe we are into November already. And let me just say, you're going to get quite a few videos from me this week because I have been really off the vlogging, filming game this month. I've had a little bit of time off just to reset into the winter season and get used to filming on this channel as well. So there will be 4 videos coming this week, so keep your eyes peeled because I'm determined to make sure that I bring out videos for you. And so far, everyone is loving it. I'm having an amazing time too. So grab a cup of tea or coffee. I've got my coffee here behind me. That space will be filled eventually as my little altar. If you haven't watched that video where I talk about my bookshelves, then go ahead and watch my previous bookshelves of my dream or bookshelves of my heart video. I really enjoyed that video. The bookshelves haven't finished yet. I have moved all of my books down lower so that I've got a beautiful background to film for you. But bearing in mind the shelves up above are completely empty. They're on order. It's Monday now. They're hopefully coming on Wednesday. So that's a quick little wrap up for you. I'm going to continue filming the finishing off of these bookcases. So that will be in a part 2 video coming up very soon. But today's video is my October wrap up video. And October was actually a little bit dire in terms of reading. So we're going to get the books here that I've got in front of me and we're going to have a quick chat. So grab your cup and let's get into the video. I've got a semi-warm cup of coffee going. I've still got my spooky mugs on the go. I'm a spooky girl at heart, always. So even though it's now November, I still have a few bits of spooky decor around the place and, of course, my lovely trusted Ray Dunn spooky mug. Starting today's video off is the reads that I had in October, or rather the reads that I completed in October. The first book I want to talk about, and I know I might upset a few people with this one, but it's Everflame. This was a book that I'd already started when I started up this channel, and I said in my first ever video that I was going to continue on reading this. I started my channel in October, which is why we're going to be talking about this, even though technically I didn't actually start the book on the channel. It was already in progress. I didn't get too far. I actually continued on reading a little bit further and got up to, where have I got up to? I've got up to chapter 46. I absolutely loved Fourth Wing. I thought it was really fast paced. I loved the characters. I loved where the story was hopefully going to go. I loved the connection between Violet and Andara and Taryn, or Taryn, the black dragon. And I did love the banter between her and Xaden. Now, if you don't want any spoilers on this book, I would say skip ahead until a few more minutes and I will leave the timestamp down below so that you don't get spoiled if you do want to read this series. But for those of you who have read the series and want to know my thoughts or are in agreement with me, then this is for you. I got bored. I have just got up to the part where they have connected with the Griffin Riders. They've climbed the mountain and they're settling back into normal academy kind of schooling, which pissed me off actually. They've escaped Basgaith. They're set up now with Violet's brother. They are trying to figure out how to take the Venin down, and Violet has just brought her friends into the inner fold by telling her all the secrets that she'd found out at the end of book 1. But we've taken this long, to get to the point where you're now not having anything happen, in terms of my opinion. We've done quite a lot of story building, we've done quite a lot of character development. Violet's been pushed to the testing a little bit more with her lightning, and I thought it was was going to ramp up at that point. But it then just filtered out like a wet fart. And we're now back in that system of going to classes and having like rivalry between characters. And I just want it to hurry up and for them to get a little bit more progression. And I have read that quite a few people have DNF'd it, and I can understand why. I don't like the fact that her and Xaden are just umming and ahhing all the time. He's kind of saying that she's his ride or die woman, and she clearly will go to the ends of the earth to help him. But it's like they're still caught in that boyfriend, girlfriend, school age kind of angst. And it's getting too conversational now. You know, it's still like they're playing at school when actually they should be progressing their skills a lot more. And I don't like where this is going. I've read quite a few other people who have similar opinions to me also say that the relationship between Violet and Xaden doesn't really get any better. It's kind of just is constantly they're on, they're off, they're angry, they're not angry. And then I've even heard, again, this is a big spoiler now, so skip ahead if you don't want to know this, but that he turns venom. So I'm like, I don't fucking care. I don't care. I'm not invested in the characters anymore. If it's just going to like ponce around, I don't like the tension either. The first book was brilliant, like their romantic interludes and their sort of sexual enterprises, but it's no longer keeping me invested. I just don't care. I'm bored. I'm actually bored with it, and I'm so disappointed because I was hoping it was going to just get better and better and build and keep you even more invested in the characters and see the progression. It just feels stuck. It feels stuck, and I'm really reluctant to DNF this, but I think I will. I certainly have no inclination to pick it up anytime soon. I don't want to waste time just filling in the gaps when I could be reading something else. For On Wings of Blood, for instance, which I've got down here, I'd much rather get into a dragon riding book that actually keeps me hooked. Now, I am a little bit prejudiced because I am a ride or die Manon Blackbeak and Abraxos fan. Their story was what kept me invested in Throne of Glass. I did like Aylin's story, obviously. Aylin and Roland are also high on that list. But it was Manon and Abraxas that I just fell in love with. And I wanted that to be this, and it's sadly not. I'm hoping that I will find something similar, but unfortunately, Everflame, I'm certainly not going to be carrying on with you, and I'm not going to pick up Onyx Storm. I'm not into it. It's also very young, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but there's just not enough of maturity that's progressing to keep me invested. So I don't know how you want to take that, but I would love to know your thoughts if you kind of agree with me, or if you loved it and there was kind of a couple of glitchy points, but you could see past that. I would love to know your thoughts. But for me, even though I did read it a little bit more and I wanted to wrap it up in October, I have ended up DNFing it. Will I completely donate it and get rid of it? No, not at the moment. But if I pick it up again and I still can't get past that in a couple of months, then I will just be giving this one away and not finishing Onyx Storm. At the moment, I'm very meh, take it or leave it. So unpopular for most people, this is being DNF'd. Okay, going in the opposite direction of a series that I started before this channel and then I finished off book 2 is Spark of the Everflame series by Penn. I love this series. It's sword fighting, it's got a really strong female lead. You start at the very beginning with DM's story in the slums, and you see the progression through her meeting at MMC. There is a very slow burn between them two, and I ate it up. Now, it's not instant clashing, throwing the bed sheets around and done and dusted, which I like. I don't like it when it's too intense and too early on. It ruins it for me, and I don't know about you, but I like the tension. It needs to be real. There needs to be real life problems, real life issues why people don't get on, because you can't just instantly hate someone. There has to be a reason and a history behind why. And this one is conflict of so many different levels. Social conflict, financial conflict, the fact that there's so much past of DM of why she doesn't like the Fae, why she has this animosity towards the people that have kept her oppressed. There is so much background that you can get immersed in as to why she is the way she is. Also, there is just so much character building of DM from her being this small town village girl into the character that she is now in this book too. There were a couple of places in this where it was a little bit slow. It was quite a lot of court intrigue to do with the story. Again, I'm not going to spoil it for anyone that hasn't read it. But Spark of the Everflame set the tone, which is book 1. And I ripped through that one. I was just so invested in finding out through DM's eyes what had happened to her, why she was the way she was, how she was going to get more involved with the MMC in the story, and how she was going to make change for good. This one, it's not a fast-paced book in that she gets into where she gets and makes lots of changes straight away. It's very much her learning the world, her being underestimated, especially by herself in a lot of it. But in the end, it ends with a lovely, not necessarily cliffhanger, but a situation which propels you into the next story. So this is, again, it's like the next level. Not only is it book 2, but it's the next level of her story, and the stakes get greater is what I'm seeing. Her progression as a woman, as a strong female in a world of male dominance is really interesting. She's learning about her own inner strengths and what boundaries she's willing to allow people to treat her. And I love that. It's a great all-round fantasy book for coming of age women. So if you've got someone younger than you who you think would love this series, then definitely push this under their noses. And if, like me, you love that Throne of Glass-esque type story where it's high fantasy, you've got the slow burn, you've got the character building, you've got the character interaction and found family, you will really love this. And Glow of the Everflame, right at the very end, where I'm just going to give you a spoiler here, so skip if you don't want to know. She has to do some trials to basically claim the throne. And that was wonderful. Penn Cole threw in a little bit of a curveball. She tied up a couple of unknown questions, and still between her and Luther, the MMC, there is still this angst going on, but it's real, it's mature, and there are reasons behind it. And I love that. She doesn't just brush over the issues that they have going on between them, but she rehashes it and goes over it, and you get a little bit deeper each and every time that you get approached by this. And I really, really loved it. So I flew through this one, and I will be starting the third one, which is just here, Heart of the Everflame. I will be starting this one soon. I might try and see if I can get it on my November TBR, because I'm itching to start this one. And the fourth one doesn't come out yet, so I'm kind of in a quandary as to whether or not I don't start this one until we're a bit closer to book 4. I'm not sure, I'm unsure. Let me know your thoughts. Have you read up to book 3 and you're happy to wait, or would you advise that I don't start that one yet and kind of hold my horses and read other things before starting on that one? But absolutely loved this one. It was a really lovely new love that I have fallen in love with DM, with Luther, with the world, and I cannot wait to read more, not only in this series but from Penn. If she brings anything else out, I'm going to go feral for it. So that's what I ended up loving in October. Okay, the other book that I ate up was a book that I also started in October. It's not fiction though, I'm going to warn you. However, it was so good and so relevant to females and just women in general that I have to include it. And that is Witch by Lisa Lister. Now this is, like I said, it's a non-fiction book, but it's so relevant for us strong, empowering women who want to learn about the past. It's got the witch trials in here. It's got about our social conformities now as women, how, you know, for me, for instance, I love reading about strong female women in my books. When I was a teenager, we didn't have that. All the books that I read, I realise now as a teenager, were men. All the books I read as a female growing up in my teenage years, there was very few women writers who wrote badass, strong, empowered women. And that's what I love about the books that are coming out these days, not only with the spicy romances, but in fantasy and romantasy in general. We are getting the women that we've always yearned for, and they are great role models for up-and-coming women now who are going through the adolescent eras, and also for us older women who just want to feel that feminine rage and that empowerment that we are learning about ourselves now. This is the next book that you need to read alongside just your normal fictional reading. It tells us the story of how we always feel inside. I read this book and it was a smack between the eyeballs. I've done a lot of spiritual healing. I've done a lot of sacred feminine healing. If this interests you and you want to learn more about the witch trials, the way that the feminine has been suppressed for thousands of years, and what you can do about it now, and make a connection with the woman you are now and how to embody going forwards to stand up for your inner truth, to stand up as a woman in this world. Even in the Western world, I know we've got a lot more advances than other countries, but there's still so much inequality. And understanding it and connecting it with what's actually going on spiritually and humanitarianly, I don't even know if that's a word, it's probably not. It's really important. I think if you feel like you can't express yourself, that you feel like you're always checking who you are and your behaviour around your male peers, your family, your any man in your life really. It's not against them, it's against patriarchy as a whole. And when you reveal the actual truth about the society that we live in, it will blow your mind and it will change the way you think and feel about yourself. I hope that it will give you more empowering tools and keys in which you can live your life going forwards and set your boundaries as an empowered, truthful, open woman in this world. She also goes into the different forms of witchcraft and rewrites the word witch. You know, we always associate witch with being taboo, with being something that you're called as a horrible name, or that it's got some kind of occultic connotation. Yes, it does have that element because society has made it that way. But actually, what she's saying is we as women should be claiming the word witch back. It is our word, our name for a woman who is in her power, who is innately connected to nature and the way in which a woman nurtures. She has an affinity with nature. We ourselves can create life from our wombs. We have that flow with life, and anything that we can put our hands to, if we're in the correct flow with life, we can create. And it's about engaging with that beautiful message and healing the feminine line, healing our mothers, healing our great-grandmothers, healing the ancestral cursing and blame and hatred of women a little bit at a time. So you can tell I'm passionate about this. Honestly, it will be the best book you have ever read in your life. And if you have some more open-minded men in your life, get them to read it too, because honestly, it will change the way you think and feel, and it can be nothing but positive in my opinion. So please, if you feel called to, check this one out. As you can see, I have tabbed the actual shit out of it because it resonated so deeply with me. It is not your fault. I repeat, it is not your fault. You've been conditioned to seek the answers to everything outside of yourself, when everything you'll ever need is inside. You've been disconnected from your body, that you no longer have a barometer to feel what's real and true. And the thing is, a woman's body is the only barometer she'll ever need in order to feel what's real and true. So before you allow your inner bitch to rage at the way in which we've all been played, I want you to meet yourself where you are. I want you to meet yourself right where you are and unfurl. I don't want you to wait till you've got the answers or you have it all figured out. And your inner perfectionist will hate me for that. Instead, I want you to find a really sticky, uncomfortable place, and I want you to explore it right now. And even though I'm sure you'll want to skip this or find something else to do, I urge you to set aside half an hour and show up for yourself. It's something I do often. In the dark part of the year, usually before Imbolc, I used to run an online rewilding program. I invited women to show up and immerse themselves in the dark, both of the season and of the not knowing. And we explore all of this because this is what we have to work with. So Lisa, I mean, she's just got such a heart for reclaiming what we've lost as women, what we've had taken as women. And she actually goes through cleansing rituals. She goes through ways in which, if you want to explore connecting with your sacred, connecting with the spiritual, awakening your sacred feminine, if you've always felt very masculine, or you haven't given yourself time to delve into a spiritual practice or connect with nature. This is part of my journey here. I mean, I've always had an altar, but I've never had an actual altar space. So I'm going to be setting that up behind me here so that I can make more of a defined time to work through the witch wound, work through my sacred feminine, and get a deeper practice with myself and rewrite the dialogue that I've always been told I am. So hugely powerful stuff, and I'm sorry I waffled on for so long, but I am just so passionate about this being a huge waking force for women out there. So if this resonates and speaks to you, I'm so proud and I'm so blessed to be able to reach out to you and speak to you about this. Not only that, but I'm a therapist and I do soul work with my clients, and this book is going to help so many women unlock what they've been shackled to for their entirety of their lives, and generations of women that have gone before us. So yeah, if you take nothing else from this video other than you need to read this book, I've done my job today. So anyway, I'm going to stop talking about that one because I could make a whole video about it. maybe that's something we could do. If you want me to make a whole video about it, please comment the word witch down below and I will do that. Okay, the final book in this October wrap-up is actually not one that I've finished, but bear with me, listen to what I have to say, and that is Cat Dragon. Now, I did a weekend reading vlog video on this book, and there's nothing wrong with it. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. It is delightful. However, I am not in the reading space for this type of book at the moment. As you can tell, I've just come out of this one and I jumped straight into this one, or coincidentally I was reading them at a similar time, and it was such a big cliffhanger jolt from this one and this one, with really strong females who were sort of badass sword fighting women, or talking about old ancestral sort of pain and oppression. I really struggled to get into this one after that weekend. I've picked it up quite a few times. It's just not the right time for me. It's just not the right time for me. I'm very much a mood reader. And the mood of this one, I think, is going to be a little bit more like over Christmas time, because I'll have sunk down a little bit deeper into that sort of restful mode. I won't be reading any high fantasy, I don't think, but maybe I will be. But for now, I'm just benching this one. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just a little bit too whimsy for me at the moment. And that's all on me. It's really, honestly, it is a really lovely book. It's a little bit more low stakes, if that makes sense. Like the way it's been written, it's like, oh no, the guardian, who's the creature in this that's made out of wood and branches and leaves and everything, has just trodden on her house. And so she's in that mode of, oh my gosh, what do I do kind of thing. And I'm just a bit like, yeah, okay, you're valid in your sort of distress. However, are you going to be going and repairing it, or are you just going to sit and wallow? And at the moment, she's a little bit in that wallowing phase, and it's a little bit too like, oh, what are we going to do? And I'm just not feeling that. I kind of want to be a little bit more proactive. I want something with a little bit more like ooh to it. Just because that's where I am right now with my reading. So I have actually currently just started Quicksilver because Brimstone's just come out. So at the moment I'm in that mode. I'm not in the sort of cute little farmhouse magical la-di-da. So we're not DNFing it by any means, but I just wanted to be completely honest with you and say I've started it, but it is a wrap up in a sense with October, because I'm going to be putting it back on the shelf for now until like nearer Christmas time, where I want the good feels. I want to be like wrapped up in a blanket, and I don't want anything too intense in any direction. This is more that vibe, really. I'm really loving the prattling pumpkins. I'm really loving the talking animals, and Elocia herself is a really lovely main character. I'm just hoping that there's a little bit of intrigue and spice between her and Hollis, the MMC. At the moment, they're kind of like just bickering because he is her best friend's brother who's just come on the scene. So we haven't quite got into the banter between them two. Maybe I just need to read a little bit more before things ramp up again. But at the time when I was reading this, I was very heavily just, reeling from this one. And I just read The Incredibly Empowering Witch. So maybe that's on me in that this one wasn't quite the right landing page after those epic two. It was a bit too much of a jolt. So it may well be that I need to ease back up into the cozy reading vibes. But if you haven't read Cat Dragon and you want to pick it up, then I would still do so. I'm still loving it. I am in chapter 7. So it may well be something that I continue to pick up through the month of November. But in terms of me like flying through it, I don't think that's the type of book that it is. I think it's definitely more of a gentle thing that you just pick up in the evenings and just have a little couple of chapters. It's not giving me that tear through it, can't get enough of it vibe at the moment. But that's not to say it isn't really lovely to read. I'm just not in the right mode. So take that as it resonates. Well, there you have it. That's a really quick October wrap up. I am getting into the flow of reading a little bit more. Having to show up for this channel is also really good. It's giving me much more direction. Sometimes I read a lot, sometimes I don't. And for me, that October, having only read 3 and DNF'd 1, that's quite a slow month for me. And I'm sorry that it's the way it is, but I still wanted to do this video for you and give you my honest thoughts. So I'd love to know your thoughts on the books that have been mentioned. If you haven't heard of which and you want to give it a go, out of all of them, that's the book that will change your life, honestly. But as for the others, you know, it's all subjective, isn't it? So I hope that you enjoyed listening to me talk about my opinions. Obviously, we all have our own, and that's what this channel's about. It's not about forcing anyone to do anything or to think anything different than they do themselves. I encourage you to listen to your own voice, and if you don't like something, you don't like it. You know, I'm being perfectly honest with saying that, you know, this isn't for me right now, although it was when I picked it up. And this one, it was great to start with, and now I'm really going to just be putting it on the sidelines. And books do that, don't they? They give us the opportunity to really delve into our own inner worlds and find out what we like, what we don't like, what we want more of. And I think that's a beautiful way to discover more about ourselves. Well, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed filming it, like always. It's lovely to hang out with you. And don't forget that this channel is for the dreamers, for the witches and the wanderers, and that these are our enchanted pages. Bye.